Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Sport Tank Rundown. I am Alfie Reeves. I'm going to be your host this evening, joined by Ewan, luckily, because my knowledge of Uniball still not at its finest. Finally, I'm turning up for work after a couple of weeks of kind of sitting in the background watching you guys do your thing. And yeah, Ewan, how are you today?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Got to see a bit of Uniball over the weekend. Caught up with a few of the streams that were going on. Obviously, we had the Chichester against Sussex, I believe, weekend. I went down to Cardiff Cobras against Portsmouth Destroyers, where I am a coach for the Cobras, and yeah, saw a few of the streams, UE2s that were out and about, and yeah, good weekend all in all.
Yeah, so let's hop straight in to this week's fixtures. Week 2 of Uniball finally happened. We're back in the Uniball season. It feels like we're back in the full swing of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, week 2, few of the teams still yet to play, but yeah, it's good to see all these sort of goings on that happens, and naturally there's a few sort of crazy things that happen in Uniball and stuff, and things that you don't expect. There are always little different things that pop up, but yeah, good to be back in the swing of things, really.
Yeah, so we'll start at the top as normal. We'll start from top down. I want to ask, before we dive into any like games or anything, well, obviously I want your opinion on like any games that you saw that stood out at the kind of the top this week.
Yeah, so 2 games in the national Prem this weekend. Notts Loughborough and UE against Leeds. I think sort of going into the new season that UE still sort of really, and this was sort of my thinking before the start of the season with the amount of signings that they made, and obviously a lot of the sort of buzz UE trains just kind of going to keep on rolling, and that's how I feel like, you know, with Notts and Durham probably being the closest to them, but that's sort of how I see it really in the national Prem.
Yeah, I have to ask, a couple of last season, I think it was first game of the year where Notts actually beat UE, and it was a bit of a shock to the system. It's just a flash in the pan type win. That could happen again.
I definitely think it's possible. The program at Nottingham is really strong. You know, they do have a lot of support in terms of, you know, getting guys over from the States and that, and so it's definitely something that could happen. But I generally think that there's got to be something pretty drastic happening for UE to sort of lose a game or two in a season. Really, I think it was their first. It was their first loss in sort of 3 or 4 years, really. So it's, you know, it was a shock at the time, but they can, you know, like in football in general, it's not really how you start, you finish, and if you're strong towards the end of the regular season, then going into the playoffs, then it's gonna do you well going into those big fixtures when you're facing the best of the best.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. My internet kind of cut out in the middle of that. But I am back now. I think. I hope.
It's all right.
Let's see what's happening. Okay. Sorry about that. You know, we saw 2 shutouts in the national Prem. Does it just show kind of, and I'm sure you probably said it in the speech I just missed. Does it just show the superiority of them 2 teams in it?
Yeah, I think so, and I don't think it's necessarily. I mean, this is no discredit to any of the teams there, but I think it also shows the support, the sort of support that these 2 teams have from their athletics unions and unis and stuff. So UE, obviously, from when they first got back into the Prem, I think it was 2019 or 2018 actually. They've slowly built so where they've just had more and more support each year, and naturally, when you bring in more scholars and people back home in the States, they see posts or live streams or stuff, and I think that then creates a sort of domino effect where you have guys that they're like, oh, where did you play? How did you get this opportunity? And then naturally they then inquire. And so I think the scouting job by Dan Mayer and Yui and the Yui Bullets, and also I think it's Coach Lawless over at Nottingham. I think that sort of makes things a lot easier than it would have been in the initial stages when they are trying to get Americans in. But yeah, shut out. And also I think even in terms in Uniball itself across the UK, it means that when you've got players that are performing well at different teams and they've got film on themselves, they can then showcase themselves to UE and end up getting scholarships on masters and stuff like that. And it really sort of creates a place that people want to go to. And that's what we've seen. We've seen a lot of players that have gone over to different teams and sort of their teams now that people want to play for because people want to win games and have all the stuff that goes with these programs.
My internet is really playing up today. I'm really sorry about this. We'll move on to. We'll have a look at. We'll do it in a bit of order. We'll try and look at next week. And next week, Nottingham and UE are both in action again. Nottingham taking on Leeds Beckett, and UE taking on Loughborough. Will it just be a same story, do you think?
Yeah, I think that obviously I think that it's the two teams that obviously have lost against Nottingham and UE this week, swapping their opposition, and I think that the scores could be higher in both games. I personally think Loughborough are a stronger team than Leeds Beckett's, and so I think that possibly we see some higher scores in the Nottingham game. I can see two shutouts again. It's not really what we want to see as neutrals week to week, but yeah, unfortunately, it's the way things go, and you've got to beat the best, or you got to play the best to beat the best, and it's sort of one of the things that go with it. Really, obviously, Loughborough don't have any scholars. They're obviously big sporting uni in the UK, and I'm sure the facilities that they get alongside sort of being but that sort of lack of skills to be able to compete, must be tough. And I mean, they have still produced some really good players out of there, stuff, people going on to pro contracts and that. So it is a play football and whatever, and it's national prem.
Yeah. You have any more thoughts on the national prem?
I just think
yeah,
I mean UE start how UE start. I don't think it will be their lowest. I don't think it will be their highest scoring game of the season. I saw a couple of clips and stuff from the Cheers Mate production stream where Simon Alifa, I think, who played for SGS Pride and was a hell of a player last season, has gone over to UE, and I've had the big chat about Chris Murray, the former Bucks player, playing. I'm not sure if he played on Sunday or not, but just strong performance week one for UE and Nottingham as well. I think it was only 6-0 at half time in that Nottingham Loughborough game, so not as one sided as perhaps the final score seems, and a few injuries possibly going against Loughborough a bit. But yeah, I'd be backing UE and Nottingham again going into next week for sure.
Perfect. So national prem is pretty much that's the roundup that we got. Obviously next week UE back in action again. So Nottingham. But how about maybe, I don't know, how do you think the Prem North? We'll start with the North first. Any more competitive than the Premier Division?
Yeah, I think so. I think, to be honest, I think that with the comparison of scholars and of ability to be able to recruit players in the national prem, it means that all the lower leagues, you generally do get a lot more sort of close games and tighter games and stuff. You know, the amount of shutouts and stuff you see in the National Prem is not really the same when it comes to teams lower down in the Prem North and Prem South. Those games are generally a lot closer, and so it does feel like anyone can score on anyone in the national. Sorry, in the Prem North. Obviously you got some good teams in there. We at Cardiff came up against Warwick last year, who got a good result over NTU Renegades. I spoke with Ben Gardner, who is a running back for the NTU Renegades, and he did an interview with us a few weeks back for Sport Tank, and yeah, close game, and I think NTU were up until the third quarter, and then I think Warwick's experience, obviously they were the top seed last year, and they're a gritty football team. Warwick, they really are. They've got sort of like they used the sort of tush push against us 2 or 3 times last year in the playoffs, and we just didn't know how to stop it. And 2 tush pushes broke away for a touchdown, and they are sort of like a gritty sort of team, and they just get results over the line. And I think when they played them last year, they did do the double over NTU. The first game was really close, 7-6. There was only a point in it, and then the second game was a bit of a blowout. But yeah, Warwick again, the team to beat in the North, it seems. And
yeah,
then
so that leads us on. Oh no, sorry, go. Sorry.
No, sorry, you go ahead.
I was going to speak about the other game in the Premier North. Obviously, Warwick getting that gritty win, as you said. Leeds versus Northumbria, another close game actually, as we were just speaking about close games in this division.
Yeah, Northumbria, who I believe have back-to-back promotions, sort of going into the Prem North, and were unfancied by quite a few really, but getting over the line again with a good result against Leeds Griffins. I
I'd imagine
always get
Griffins, but I have no idea.
Griffins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
I always get criticism on how I say Griffins, but yeah, no, I think just again that, you know, 2 close games really, and you know, it's going to be those sort of 1-score games, and who can sort of really grind out those results right at the end to show that, you know, they are the team to beat in that division. And close games are always good fun, and horrible to be on the losing side of them, but when you do win them and you manage to get over the line, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, I think we have Kwame going to join us now. Sure, I've seen him chat. He was always ready to join us at some point during this his stream. We'll see if he can hop in while we're talking about the Prem North. So yeah, 2 games from the Prem North this week. Here he is, Kwame.
Hello.
How are you, Kwame?
I'm good. Bruno Burner's biggest fan, back at your service.
They didn't even play this week.
I know. We didn't play this week, and I still love my team. But yeah, how are we all doing?
We're good, thank you.
Yeah, not too bad, man.
We're on the Prem North at the minute. We're just speaking about the Leeds Northumbria game, and the 2 close games in that division: Leeds Northumbria, and then Warwick versus NTU. Any thoughts that you have on them 2 games before we move on?
I think you guys pretty much covered it all, to be fair. I was listening into what you guys were saying about the game, and there's not really much that I can say that you guys haven't mentioned anything particular that I know about these teams, other than I think the games will be pretty interesting, to be fair. I'll be looking forward to seeing some of these scorelines. I know the Prem North is actually quite tight. It's actually quite interesting. So, you know, some of these divisions we kind of know it's almost a formality already, like who's sort of running away with it. But the Prem North looks really interesting right now, and I still can't call anything. So I'm intrigued to see what happens this weekend.
Yeah. So that's a perfect time to move on to this weekend, actually, as we look ahead to week 3. NTU versus Northumbria in the week 3 game. Are there any predictions for that from you 2?
I think I think I've seen a lot of Northumbria. Northumbria have been quite loud and been quite busy on sort of social media these past few weeks. And to be fair, coming off two winning seasons, can you blame them? Like, fair play to them. And they talk a big game, and they've put it up so far. So, you know what? I'm gonna go Northumbria. I'm gonna go Northumbria this week. I do have a bit of a soft spot for NTU, and they did put up a strong fight against last year's top seed. But I don't know. I'm gonna go with the horses.
Kwame?
I'm going to go with NTU simply because I saw them play last season. It was a tight game. I'm not going to lie, this bit here has not really much to do with Uniball itself, but I just know a few people that goes there. My brother's mate goes to Nottingham Trent, so I'm going to have to root for you guys. Please bring it home. Bring it home for my boy. Because if not, I'm a husband word. He doesn't play American football now. But
No.
I don't know anyone from the other team, so there's a reason to root for someone.
To be fair, Northumbria is that a county? I don't even know where Northumbria are based, but it's a long way away wherever it is. So
I don't know what's in Northumbria.
Who's at
other than
home?
Northumberland, I don't know what else is in Northumbria. My geography of that part of the country is not great.
NTU, I believe.
NTU are at home, so that could, to be honest, that could play into their hands because on the road, Northumbria. I feel like it's a long way. It feels a long way from Nottingham, so it might be a good sort of 3-4 hour journey down for them. It might be less. Tell us in the comments if it is that far or not. But yeah, I'm going to stick with Northumbria. They're going to come ready to go, and they're going to win.
Well, there you go, bold claim. So let's move to the south now. Then, Kwame has just
dropped out,
exited the stream. I'm not sure what happened then, but we'll move to the Prem South anyway. We wait for him to join back. We'll cover the two games last week.
One. Oh, this week just gone.
Just one.
Just the one game.
One game.
Just one.
Well, there you go. So we'll cover that one game from the Prem South. And as far as I know, it was Cardiff Cobras seemingly destroying, no pun intended, actually. Why not? Pun intended. Portsmouth, 46-14. Any thoughts on
that? A lot of thoughts, yeah. Alpha, you may not know this. I'm actually a coach for the Cardiff Cobras. So
there you go.
I'm offensive line coach for the Cardiff Cobras. So I was at the game yesterday. Going into it's been a bit of an interesting one for us in Portsmouth over these past few years because Portsmouth got promoted two years ago. So this is now their third season. So I played against them in my final season playing for the Cobras, and we beat them in our first win for like 2 or 3 years down at Langston in Portsmouth, and it was sort of a bit of like catalyst for us, that performance. And then since then, so we beat them home and away in that first year. Last season they beat us pretty comfortably at home and to get a bit of a surprise win away from home last year. So going into this week's game, we didn't really know how we were going to face. We've got a new quarterback, they do as well, and to be honest, I think the scoreline itself probably flatters us a little bit because we had 2 touchdowns that were special teams touchdowns. So one was a muffed punt by Portsmouth where the punt was blocked and we managed to recover it in the end zone. And then the other one was a muffed punt return where it hit a guy's shoulder, went into the end zone, and we managed to recover it. So we did score 5 or 6 offensive touchdowns. Our starting QB Nick Yao had a really strong game. He was our sort of backup QB last year behind Kieran McGill, but we've kept our whole receiver unit. We've got 4 really, really strong receivers: Ollie Luck, Sam Harvey, Seb Seldonoso, and Mark Kosgei, GB under-19s, scored 2 touchdowns yesterday. Lads rapid, and yeah, defense put up a strong performance. I think their 2 touchdowns they scored were, you know, both at points in the game where the tide could have turned, but the Cobras put up a strong performance in the end. And to be honest, fair play to Portsmouth. They didn't give up. Their D line had a really good game and got a lot of pressure on the QB. I just think that offensively they really struggled to get anything going. Wasn't much sort of protection for the QB, a lot of points. And the run game, which normally Nabechi Abana, who is the running back of Portsmouth, just couldn't really get anything going on the ground either. So we were quite comfortable when it came to 4th down going for it, just because we weren't that confident that Portsmouth would be able to move the ball on us, and that's the way it turned out. But I see a lot of people writing Portsmouth off. I would not write Portsmouth off at all. I think that, you know, I do think that obviously they've suffered 2 big losses in the first 2 weeks, and going into their 3rd game, I think they've got Exeter, I believe. I think they've got Exeter.
Week 3 is SGS at home, by the looks of it.
Okay, well that doesn't get any easier. SGS.
I'm looking at Portsmouth. I'm looking at Portsmouth, and I'm thinking, right, you lost the first game away at Brunel. Granted, it was away at Brunel.
Yeah.
Cool. Second game, chance to, you know, right the wrongs, right the ship, redemption and everything, and you get your ass handed to you at home against Cardiff. At this point, if I'm playing for or coaching for Portsmouth, alarm bells are ringing, because after that Brunel game especially, I would have been looking at Cardiff and I would have been looking at Exeter, and I've been saying those are opportunities to get 4 wins. Now they've already got a loss, and it was a big loss. And considering the scoreline and the fact that it was at home, at this moment in time, I don't have much reason to feel confident in Portsmouth going to Cardiff and getting a win. So that then leaves Exeter as the last opportunity for Portsmouth. Now, if I'm Portsmouth, I'm looking at Exeter saying we have to get a win there. If I'm Exeter, I'm looking at Portsmouth licking my lips saying, look, they got battered by Brunel, they got battered by Cardiff. So, you know, we could do something here. So it's really shaping up to be something quite interesting at the bottom. You know, it's going to be a fight to stay up in that division. Again, obviously, we're going to see how they get along with SGS. They might turn things around and put up a bit more of a fight, and at least then it'll give us more confidence. But, you know, I guess only time will tell. And after losing your first 2 games, I don't think SGS is a team that anyone wants to play after losing games like that. So it's not come at a great time for them, but, you know, needs must, and they've got to start getting some results, and they've got to stop other teams from running the score up.
Yeah,
I would just say, Kwame, it's a very good point, and you're probably in a position to be a bit more sort of black and white about things than I am. But I think it's a tough start for Portsmouth. Brunel away, Cardiff at home, and then SGS at home, back to back. The schedule has done them absolutely no favours there, really, has it? They've started a week earlier than we have. We had film on Portsmouth from the stream, so we had film on what they were going to do, and so that was a bonus for us, that the luxury that they didn't have. So I think that, yeah, I mean, I would be extremely surprised if Portsmouth get a result against SGS. And it feels like it is going to be, like you said, that sort of shootout with Exeter, who again have lost a few players, and I feel like they've also lost Coach Lydon, who I believe is their OC as well. So, and a lot of the sort of good things I felt like that came out of Exeter came through Coach Lydon, to be honest. And they've also lost the Burgess boys on the O-line, who are, you know, pro athletes in the adult ball season. So I think I do think like it possibly will be a shootout between, you know, Cardiff, Portsmouth, and Exeter, and it's whoever can pick up the most points against each other in the end.
Yeah.
I think those are some big losses that you've mentioned as well. Sorry, Alfie, to cut you off, but there's a lot of big losses there. You were quite literally just listing a whole paragraph of players and coaches who have left, and that's not easy to replace. So, you know, we could be looking at Exeter in the danger zone at this moment in time, but at the same time, Portsmouth are 0-2 and Exeter aren't 0-2. So,
Yeah.
we'll only have to wait and see when they play. But definitely for Portsmouth, it's been tough because starting early, like you said, not having a bye week to sort of rest and reset. They'll have players who are fatigued, probably injured, broken, bruised, and it will be tough against a fresh SGS side who are ready to go for the season, So looking at it like that, I guess you could also look at the flip side of it as well. I've been in a situation where we played week 1. The team that we played week 2 didn't play week 1. They've had the opportunity to have film on us, but on the flip side, we've had a game. We've been quote unquote battle scarred, and we're ready to go for the rest of the season. So that was my shock for Portsmouth, was the fact that obviously you've gone to one of the toughest places to go to in the country, right? Regardless of division, you've got your asses handed to you. I would have thought that they would have been a bit more prepared for this game that they played against Cardiff. But it just seemed to me like Cardiff just seemed a lot more fresh, just a lot more ready. And maybe Portsmouth needed a week in between to sort of really rest and recover. Who knows? But we'll find out this weekend, I guess.
Sorry,
Yeah.
last
Oh, go on.
thing.
Sorry, no, keep going.
Just want to shout at Hayden Yeomans, who one of our free safety for us at the Cobras. He had 6 picks in the regular season last year, and he had 2 on Sunday. 1 he returned for a touchdown. So he's been balling out, and yeah, he just hawks the ball, man. Judges it in the air, and they say defensive players can't catch the ball, but he's proven that wrong. So shout out to Hayden.
Well, there you go. And it's
Respect.
taken us 28 minutes, but we get to, well, for you two, the biggest game of next weekend, and that is the Brunel Burners versus the Cardiff Cobras. Now, obviously some tension already in here.
You might as well just put us both in the octagon and let us fight over who wins.
Yeah. Are you both just looking forward to that game, first of all?
I can't wait.
Absolutely,
I cannot wait.
Absolutely buzzing.
Nah, I think obviously, going into the season, I probably was thinking that Brunel are not a team that we could possibly compete with. Not because we don't have good players or good guys, but because they have funding behind them and we really don't. So we are a grassroots team, and we sort of credit to our head coach Sean and David Asamoah Dags, our OC, who've really and Ginger as well, Ryan Davies.
Shout out to David, top wide receiver.
Yeah. But our coaches really get the most out of our players. And so I think that, I'm not saying Brunel don't, but they have scholars and we don't have scholars. So if we can get close, put up a good fight, and it be a 1-score game going into the final quarter, don't write us off. You never know.
I think this game will be a lot more interesting than I anticipated that it would have been 2-3 weeks ago. And I think a lot of it has to do with Portsmouth. Both teams beat Portsmouth comfortably by 3 scores. Brunel at home and having a running clock. And of course, Cardiff going to Portsmouth and slapping almost 50 on them. So both of those have been really impressive wins for the teams concerned. Of course, Portsmouth are going to be beaten up, and I'm not trying to spend too much time talking about Portsmouth when it's, Brunel versus Cardiff. But both of these teams are going to feel confident. They've had big wins under their belt already. Brunel have had the week rest, although Cardiff have had the rest beforehand. They've both rested their starters during these games, so it's going to be an interesting one. Both teams will feel like they can, go 2-0, especially after both putting up big scores.
I don't think the week before helps us that much, if I'm honest. I don't think the bye week before we played helps us that much. I think I'd much rather a bye week in between the games.
Definitely more advantageous, I suppose. But
yeah,
both teams are going to be hungry for it.
Depends if Portsmouth give our film to Brunel. Portsmouth have nothing to gain by giving our film to Brunel. So,
do you know, I feel some type of way about the whole film thing, right? So some teams will be like, I'm not giving film to this team because we want to give ourselves every advantage. And I feel like that's just, if it's not petty, it's bullshit, right? Because at the end of the day, teams sharing film with each other makes everybody better, right?
That's true.
If we share our film with, I say we, I'm not involved with the coaching or playing at the team anymore, but I say we as a fan, or we as in any club, right? Or any club I'm playing for. But if we share our film with all the other teams in our division so that they can review us and how we play, that makes them better, right? Or it makes them better prepared against us. Now, if we also have access to all of their film, we can all review the stuff that we do, right? There's no guarantee that we're going to run those plays in the game, right? We can play. Then there were plenty of times at Brunel when I was playing there where the first game of the season, we would win by about 40 or 50 points, running about 2 or 3 plays all game. The same few plays just constantly because it worked. And it's like, what's the point in showing them our whole playbook when we can show them just that little bit and put 50 on them? And it means that the rest of the league doesn't need to see everything we're capable of, right? So if we could do that, and I guarantee the guys in the Prem are probably doing the same thing, guys at higher levels, guys at the top level of Britball are doing the same thing. You know, there's so many more plays that you can bring out. And even if they know what you can run, you know, being a better athlete and having a better drill team is going to make it tougher to stop. So I think the whole thing about teams sort of hiding film from other teams and being petty, not wanting to share film, I think you're not doing anyone any favors, you know, and you're only creating a bad reputation for yourself. So people won't want to share film with you. So in my eyes, everyone should share film with everyone. And I think it should be a requirement in the sport, but each to their own. Some people won't agree with me. That's just my opinion.
I think you're right.
Let me ask before we move on, because obviously Bruno have the home field next week. As a coach and as a former player, both of you obviously, how much does that actually matter at this kind of level?
Depends on the surface and how far you have to travel, in my opinion.
It's quite away from Cardiff. We actually, I haven't mentioned this yet, but our coach arrived 15 minutes before kickoff from Cardiff to Portsmouth. There was a crash or there was a problem on the M4. Our coach got there 15 minutes before kickoff. 15 minutes before kickoff, and we kicked off within 35 minutes of us getting there. So we barely had a warm up.
And you still 40-50 on them.
Yeah. So I think I would generally say that everyone needs good time to warm up and whatever, and a long journey can't help you, but didn't really work against us this week.
From the perspective of
grass pitch, though, I believe it is now. I think it's grass pitch at Brunel. Kwame.
Yeah, it's a grass pitch. It's a grass pitch, unfortunately. Although to be fair, start of November, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. It's really December and January where it gets bad, to my memory. November, it should be all right. Yeah. Although if both teams want to do nothing but run the ball up the middle, then obviously the middle of the field will just get absolutely chewed up like a farm. But for the most part, I mean, it'll hold up. It will hold up, especially now. Both teams have, you know, passing games where they can spread the ball out, and you won't see is the typical days of Div 2 where you're just constantly running the ball and the middle of the field just gets absolutely chewed up from linemen and running backs and linebackers. So the field will be all right. Obviously, I hope you guys don't have any coach issues as well. You know, we want everyone at their best. As much as like I could say, you know, I want all the other teams to be struggling so that we can get our win. It doesn't help anyone in the long run. We want the best teams against the best teams, playing the best football, and the winner comes out on top, you know. So it'll be an interesting one, I think.
Are you at the game?
Potentially.
I'll be swearing at you from the other sideline then.
I'll get a massive T-po. Fuck Cardiff. In Welsh as well.
My internet. Okay, I think we're ready to. I think what we'll do here is, because I don't know how much knowledge we've all got of Scottish of the Scottish leagues. So we'll quickly skim past that, and then the Northern League as well. We'll just talk about anything that you think that's worth mentioning from the Scottish leagues at all.
I saw that Edinburgh Mavericks Aberdeen Bulls was postponed. I know they were supposed to play. Sterling got smacked a bit by Edinburgh Napier Knights. So shout to them. That's a strong win and a shutout, and another shutout with Glasgow Tigers against Heriot Watt. So, like we were saying earlier on about how you don't really see shutouts as much further down the pyramid, but two teams in Scotland there showing that, and Stirling, I'm not sure what like they nowadays. When I used to play against Stirling, they were a top team in the Prem. So they've obviously.
Yeah, I have memories of Sterling being a top team. To be fair, I know two guys who have played for Sterling, I believe. Funny enough, both of them also have played for the Brunel Burners. But yeah, they played. Sterling have always been a top team to my memory. I don't know where he's gone. He's done a me. But yeah, Sterling have always been a top team to my memory. So seeing them not in the top division is a bit surreal. But I always feel like eventually the giant will be woken up in Sterling and they'll be back to their best. I feel like that with all of the big teams that have previously won before. You got like, for example, Southampton Stags in Div 1. And they're not the favourite in their division, but they themselves have a national championship. So there's always the potential, based on that, there's always that pipe dream that they'll make it back up there one day. And
Yeah.
we want to see the teams that have been good. We want to see them stay good. Nobody wants to see a team be good and then suddenly just collapse.
Mm.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the Northern. 2 games from last weekend. Obviously, 2 shutouts again, but one of them was closer than the other. Edge Hill Vikings lose 41-0 to the MOU Eagles, and the Rams beat the Tyrants by 10. Any thoughts from that weekend of the Northern one?
For me, I mean, I don't, like I was saying earlier on, my knowledge of the Northern teams isn't the greatest, but yeah, MMU putting up a lot of points there, 41 points. So that's a statement marker early on in the season for any team, and Lancashire as well managing to get over the line against Manchester Tyrants. It sounds like that game was a bit of a gritty one where both teams kind of struggled to get the ball moving a bit on offense. So yeah, strong defensive game in that second one.
I'm going to make it my challenge to get more familiar with Northern Uniball, because I feel quite clueless right now, to be honest with you. But I mean, right now, if you ask me to pick, to do picks next week, I'm picking on whose logo looks nicer, whose kit's nicer, who do I know that goes to this university that doesn't even play American football, like things like that. So I'm going to make it my challenge to learn a little bit more each time about the Northern side of it.
Yeah, we'll get to the picks after we've just rattled through these last, I think it's 4 divisions in the Division 1 bracket now. We'll move to the Southern next, and 2 games, but it looks like one might have been postponed, with the Oxford versus Birmingham, and then UEA versus Oxford Brooks, with a 26-8 scoreline in favour of Oxford. Again, any thoughts of this Southern division this week?
Yeah, UEA. Go on, you go first, mate.
I was actually going to say something about both games. Firstly, Oxford Brooks is impressive for that win, to be fair. Obviously, UEA were tough last season. Oxford Brooks have only just come up, and I don't think I had much confidence in them at the start of the season, but that win is definitely going to settle some nerves, at least on my half of it, from when it concerns them. I'm sure they were confident as well, and I know some of their coaches are really good, and they definitely have something brewing. So I think they're here to stay. As for the other game, I have no idea, or I've completely forgotten. I actually have no idea why it was postponed. So
yeah, a bit of a weird. I didn't see anything about that, so I assume it must have been postponed prior to the weekend. I don't think it was a game day sort of thing. Just want to say that Oxford, though, I know a few players who used to play for Oxford Brooks. Going away to UEA is no mean feat. I tore my ACL on the UEA pitch. It's a grass pitch. It is it's a bit out of the way as well. It's a bit of a trek to get there, and yeah,
I thought you were going to say before your ACL on the coach on the way there.
That would be embarrassing. No, but UEA is a tough pitch to get the ball moving as well. It's a proper sort of, the grass churns up quite a lot as well, and so it is a hard pitch to score points on. So to score 20, 26 like Oxford did against UEA is no mean feat. And UEA, who are in a new division this year, playing some new teams, and they got moved around a bit from last year, but again, we're a Prem team not too long ago, and still have some of the guys there that played in the Prem, so they'll be hoping to get back on the winning train after that one.
UEA's got an interesting case because having moved divisions, I know obviously I always questioned why they moved divisions because they're so far east, that why they're in the central division. But I remember when I was and I know not to keep going back to the team again, but when I was at Brunner, we had a similar thing. We were in the South Division. We got moved into the Southeast. Everyone said the South Division was pants and we're going to get beaten, get our ass handed to us and get this and that and all sorts in the Southeast Division. And to be fair, going into a new division can be quite refreshing because it's all new opposition. Yes, now everyone else has film in each other, but you're going in, you're a completely new entity. The others haven't probably studied you as much, or maybe don't know your players as well. So it's definitely, it can be a positive and it can be a negative if you're not prepared. But if you're someone who prepares well, especially if you're able to adjust on the fly, I think UEA could really give themselves a good opportunity to go far in this division. But it also has the opportunity to go horribly wrong if you don't prepare. So it's a really interesting one, really.
Yeah,
Also,
unless you have any more thoughts.
Because I believe they flipped with, I believe they switched with, I want to say Brighton.
Yeah, the Panthers, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, so Brighton is now in the opposite division. So I kind of feel quite similar about them, where previously, if they had stayed in this division, I don't think I would have as much confidence for them. But the fact that they've gone to the other division, now they've got some new opposition, they've got a strong squad, and I'm quite impressed by them as well. And I think that they can do quite well in that division. They have the potential, definitely.
Yeah, so let's move on to the Midlands and Yorkshire League now. Back up to north a bit, where maybe our knowledge goes a bit. So Sheffield beat Leicester by 12-0, another shutout there. And then it looks like another postponed game in that division as well. Again, I'll put it out if there's any thoughts that you think could be useful.
Again, I think like Kwame said, my knowledge on the sort of Midlands and Yorkshire teams needs to improve, and hopefully as we see the sort of results coming in. Obviously, my first time doing the rundown. Looking forward to hopefully getting a bit more knowledge about these teams going forward and seeing how they go throughout the season. But yeah, a win on the road for Sheffield, and positive result.
Did you say that was against Leicester?
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, similar situation without knowing players, coaches, and individuals involved. Just more so going on the mindset of losing 12-0 at home. 12-0 is not a big score. It could have been 2 touchdowns, missed PATs, could have been 4 field goals. I wasn't there, I have no idea, but I'm going to guess it was 2 touchdowns and missed PATs. If anyone's watching and was playing for those teams or was involved and I'm wrong, let me know. But I feel like if you're not able to get anything going on offense, being shut out at home is definitely heart-wrenching. It's not positive. It's not good in any way. I don't think there's really much you can take from it. I don't know how they played. I don't know how they drove the ball down the field, but simply not being able to score, having a 0 in that column is it's gonna have people scratching their heads because in being unable to drive down the field in your own backyard, having another team come to you, basically just hand it to you, run up the score. Of course, the score wasn't run up. It wasn't a running clock or anything, but I really have questions about offenses. Again, going from a team that I don't know players at but I will have questions about their offense if they're not able to put up any scores in the next game.
Yeah. We'll move on to the Southeastern League, which we won't spend much time on because there was only one game, and it was called a walkover. After, I'm not too sure the circumstances. If anyone's got any information.
This is at Kingston, Kent.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I do, and I've got a lot of things. Kingston University Students' Union, right? You should be ashamed of yourselves. You should be ashamed. You're letting the boys down. You're letting them down.
Man.
The boys turned up. Kingston Cougars, they turned up on game day. You got Kent down, ready to go, ready to have a great game, and the SU didn't provide a medic. Poor organisation, right? You let the boys down. The boys were there, ready to go, ready to play for a win. Then, because the walkover, because the SU didn't provide a medic, and to be honest, I'm disappointed in the Students' Union. That's who my anger is. I was sat there looking at this yesterday, and I really felt for those guys because they didn't deserve that. They deserve to be able to play. They end up having a scrimmage in the end, which is not how anyone wants to spend their Sundays when there was a game to be played. Sorry, rant over.
How in the world do you fuck up that bad? You had one, get the medic. I don't care if you have to pay money, if you have to kidnap someone, I don't care. Just get the fucking medic. Bring them to the game. Because everybody knows you can't play a game without a medic. You can't play a game without referees. You can't play a game without players. You can't play a game without coaches, right? Like, this is just basic level stuff. I'm sure I've turned up to a game once. I actually did turn up to a game one time and the lines weren't painted on the field. Like,
basics. If we
you know what I'm saying?
sport,
Like this sort of
if we want
stuff.
to grow
Like,
the sport in this country, we're gonna take this stuff seriously, okay? And medics, sorry, having a physio or a medic is the absolute basics for a sport where people can get seriously hurt. Sorry, I'm actually going to be serious now. People can die on this field, and
people can die on the field.
So this
is
stuff,
this is not a kickabout in the park. This is not
really
me and my mate grabbing a football and throwing the ball around. This is serious shit.
Yeah,
you know, like I'm sure most
it's probably an intern. That's the thing. We're probably hating on this one person who's made a mistake. Probably they had a heavy weekend.
It's his first day of the
weekend. It got to Monday, and they were like, "I didn't book the medic."
You probably realised just before kickoff, he's like, "Fuck!"
They're getting a firm talking to by their boss this morning, and the whole I hope of the Kingston Cougars team. They should have turned up at the SU on Monday morning and had it out with them because that's not acceptable.
The worst case, honestly, just run off to campus, grab a medical student, just dress him up, and just say, "Here's the doctor, guys." Because at this rate, like, you know, I don't understand. I guess it's possible to make the mistake, and once you've made the mistake, it's like, cool, you've screwed up that bad that it makes sense how you made the mistake when you hear the explanation, I guess. But us three guys sitting in our rooms or whatever, talking on a podcast about it, you know, it sounds ridiculous. Honestly, it honestly sounds to me like someone had, you know, the whole you had one job. Like, how bad? All you have to do is make a phone call, or I don't know what it is, send some emails out, or whatever it is. But you've got to make sure that somebody is in a certain place, and that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
I guess I hope going forward now is just that it won't ever happen again. You made that mistake once.
That's true.
We hope not. Hope not.
Otherwise, you are out of the job.
Because I've seen teams make the same mistake multiple times.
Sorry,
Yeah.
So the Southwestern, Bristol Barracuda, shut out by the Bournemouth Uni Bobcats. Bobcats doing what the Bobcats do. By the looks of it, you know, winning games.
Yeah.
28-0. Any thoughts?
No surprises.
Yeah, I mean, I was brought up when I first got into American football. I was playing for UE Bullets, and we fundamentally hated the Barracuda, mainly because they would never play us at varsity. But over the years, I've warmed and I've come round to the Barracuda. We've now had one of our O-line go over to Bristol, and I met a few of the guys as well. I know the head coach as well. So I think that they just struggled to get stuff moving on offense, Bristol. I think defensively they were really strong, put up a good fight, but the Bobcats just too strong. They've been that team in that league for a few years now, and yeah, interesting one here, Alfie. I'm sure you'll come on to it. They've obviously got the return fixture next week, so perfect opportunity to get right back at them. But it's down in Bournemouth this time, so Bristol or Cuda on the road, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that return leg goes.
Return fixtures can go anyway. I've seen, not with any teams that I was playing for, but I think 2 teams in an opposite division. One game, this is years ago, one game was like 78-0 or something ridiculous. And the return fixture, the other team won it 6-0. So that threw me off. But yeah, Bournemouth are not surprising me right now. No surprises with that game. I actually only saw one play of that game. I think it was on their Instagram story. It was a pick 6. It was like a screen pass to the side, and it sort of just completely missed the receiver. And the defensive back sort of just ran from out of the picture and basically just cradled the ball in and took it into the end zone, which was about 10 yards ahead of him. So,
yeah,
I can't say much on one play. I can't make a judgment on the whole game based on the one play that I saw. But if I was to do it, I would. The first thing that I saw was, my assumption would be a lack of chemistry on the side of Bristol Barracuda's offense. Again, I wasn't there, and someone who plays for the Cuda can probably prove me wrong or will have something to say about this, but that's what it looked like on that one play. It just looked like the chemistry just wasn't quite there, and they can put it together, but maybe they need a few more games to get going. Maybe they just need 1 or 2 plays to get hit in the mouth before they, pull their tails up and start scoring some points.
Yeah, so that's Division 1. Well, it looks of it all wrapped up. So we'll look at next week for Division 1, all over the place. Scotland, if there's any picks you want to make here, I'm not too sure how much we all know about the Scottish picks. Any predictions for that at all?
Go on, rattle off the team names, and we'll make some picks.
Okay.
Alex Ferguson, Andy Murray.
The Edinburgh Napier Knights versus the Heriot Watt Wolverines.
I'm taking Edinburgh.
Yeah, I was going to say Knights as well. Yeah.
Yeah. No reason why, just Edinburgh. Capital city. Got that arrogance about them. On and off the field.
Nice. Edinburgh's nice. Yeah, I guess Edinburgh's nice. I'll give it to them. And he's gone.
And then all right, I'll read them out. Next game is Edinburgh Mavericks against Glasgow Tigers. Who are you taking?
Well, I heard Edinburgh's a bit nicer than Glasgow, so Glasgow's where the people's at, apparently. Glasgow's where the people's at.
Yeah, but Glasgow's got that grit. Do you know what I mean? Glasgow's gritty city. I'm going Glasgow on that one. Tigers. Go Tigers. LSU. Yeah, I'm going Glasgow in that one. And then,
do you know what?
Go on.
I'll go double Edinburgh just because of that. Just to be different, I'll go double Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the third game is Aberdeen Bulls against Stirling Klansmen.
I'm gonna have to go with Stirling. I don't really know who particularly is stronger this year. I think Stirling might be stronger, but just purely based on the fact that I know a couple people who went to Stirling, so I'll root for them.
Well, I'm gonna go for Aberdeen, only because Stirling lost heavily week 2 this week and didn't manage to put any points on the board against Edinburgh Knights. So I'm gonna go Aberdeen. on that one. Sorry, Alfie. We just flicked through the Scottish fixtures for next week.
No, that's absolutely fine. My internet is just absolutely having a nightmare today. Wrong day to do it as well. The Northern now, the MMU Eagles versus Manchester Tyrants, and the Liverpool Raptors versus the Clan Rams. Any thoughts going into the games?
Manchester Derby will be interesting.
Yeah.
Is it MMU? Is it against Tyrants? Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go Eagles. Eagles had a strong win in the weekend just gone. I think they put up 41 points. Tyrants lost, I think, so I'm gonna go MMU. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds.
Yeah.
Go Birds.
I mean, yeah. You gave some good reasoning. I don't really have much to counterbalance or to counteract that with, to be fair. I mean, the Tyrants would love to get a win to even it out, but I think, are the Eagles at home?
Eagles are at home.
I think the Eagles. I'll go with the Eagles. I mean, this is like me betting on teams in the Indian Cricket Premier League. I have no idea who's who, so I'm just picking names.
Shout out RCB in the IPL.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I'm going to go with them. I think they're going to win. Why not? And the Liverpool Raptors against the Rams. Who do we think for that one?
Did the Rams? I think the Rams won this week. Just gone, didn't they? Lancashire Rams.
I believe so. Yeah, I think that was the 10-0 game.
Yeah, I'm going to go Liverpool. Liverpool.
I'll go Rams.
Anything in particular about Liverpool from last year, but I just remember hearing good things about the Raptors. So I'm gonna go for the Raptors.
It's like Raptors in 6, you know. I'll go Rams.
I'll take the Rams as well then.
Taking the Rams.
Yeah, the win last week. It's persuaded me. What can I say? I know nothing else about them, but the win last
10
week.
points is not persuading me.
You never know. You never know. The Southern.
10 points while a lot of other teams are eating, they'll be hungry to eat more. So maybe they left some on the plate, left some space in their stomachs for some more eating this weekend. So they might win again.
The Southern Division 1, we have the Hurricanes versus the Lions first up.
Ooh.
I'm gonna take. I know the OC. I used to play with the OC. The OC
5-time champions versus 5-time champions.
The OC at Birmingham was my former teammate Nathan Lester, and his dad is the head coach. So, I think Birmingham were unlucky to go down the last year. They just didn't put the win together where it mattered. But I still think they're a good team. They got some really good players. I spoke to Eddie Perry, one of their linemen, for one of my interviews in this past couple of weeks. So I'm gonna take the Lions in this one.
I think it's an interesting one because I'm trying to think back to Hertfordshire last season, and I don't remember them being one of the strongest teams in the league as per se. They had a year where they were really good, and then they had a year where they were almost as good, and then they had a year where they weren't as good after that. And I think Birmingham, having come down, played against Cardiff, played against, some of those, and they didn't lose all their games last season. To my memory, I think they might have won a game or two. So I feel like Birmingham might have the upper hand again. Is it at Hertfordshire? I'm guessing the game.
Yeah.
Game's at Hertfordshire. I feel like Birmingham have something to prove.
Hearts went 5-3 last year. They came second to Brunel.
Yeah. But you see, they lost 2 games to Brunel, and I think they lost 1 game to, I can't remember who. They lost the game to Reading.
Reading went 0-8.
Was it? Oh, they went 0-8. Who did they lose to?
Maybe
I remember they
it
lost
was either
to someone.
Oxford or Brighton. Can't remember who.
It was one of those two. Because it was Reading that beat Hertfordshire the year before. Sorry, It must have been. I'm thinking of that year. I can't remember who beat them, but I feel like it will be a tight game. It'll be a really entertaining game, but I feel like Birmingham might come on top, and I feel like it'll be one of those games that goes until the 4th quarter, and it's like anyone could win it. But I feel like Birmingham might just pip it.
I think, getting relegated is easy. Getting promoted back out when you're fighting with three or four other divisions is really tough. So
It's tough. Yeah.
So I think that it's tough to it's really tough to get out of the division. Brunel showed that, and they were the ones that came up and they're fighting, but shows the best team gets promoted. But I'm backing the Lions. I think the Lions will get promoted again back up this year.
I think a lot of people are agreeing or assuming that it will be between the Lions and the Bobcats because of how good the Bobcats have been since they've been in Div 1.
Yeah.
Some people might say that they're almost like taking Brunel's space in the sense of, not in the sense of always being in Div 1, making the playoffs and not making it out, because, you know, I'm not gonna throw shade or anything, because it's been what, 2-3 years and they've made it to the final twice. Sorry, 3 years and they made it to the final twice, which is very impressive, right? I think the reason why I'm saying that they're taking Brunel's place in the sense of people might see them as the new Brunel in Div 1 is that we had this aura of people either didn't want to play against us or they didn't want to see us in the division. They'd get beaten and they'd say, right, guys, now I hope you guys go and get promoted because we don't want to have to play against you again and again and again, because you just know what's going to happen, right?
Mm.
And I feel like teams are really fearing Bournemouth in that same way. They're going to Bournemouth or they're hosting Bournemouth and they almost know 90%, 95, 99, 100% that they're going to lose the game or they're going to have a score put up on them. So it's, for a lot of guys, it might be like damage limitation, but it's almost a case of, you know, this is the game that we're looking at. If we can get a win against Bournemouth, we've won the whole season, right? In people's eyes.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like it's a formality. The regular season will be a formality. Bournemouth will win all their games, go 8-0, and then the playoffs is when it will turn up. You know, this is where they'll play against your Birminghams if they win a division, your Hertfordshire's if they do really well this year. You know, you're looking at Brighton. Potentially you're looking at a playoff spot. Obviously it's early days, but they'll be looking at that division thinking we can do some damage. So, you know, like, it'd be interesting to see how they get along with the tougher teams, but I think they'll easily walk their division. You know, I would like to see, first of all, obviously the Lions Hertfordshire game that we spoke about a minute ago, but I would also like to see the Lions against the Bobcats as well. This is obviously in the playoffs, but I think that would be a really tasty matchup.
Mm.
Yeah, and you know, for that game, as a Birmingham native as I am, I'm going to go for the Lions in that one. Also, I think last year was, you know, as Ewan said, maybe a little bit unlucky for the most part, not being able to put the wins together when they really needed them, and then, you know, coming down. And as you said, getting relegated is easy. Getting promoted is a lot harder at this kind of level. The other
Really
match
makes you think,
in Southern Division.
Sorry, yeah, just to bring up a quick point, makes you think in Britball.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, in Britball we have the promotion relegation game. Now it makes you think, would it make sense to have a promotion relegation game in between Div 1 and Prem?
I hate that idea.
We can probably assume that we would still have the same result. But next season, let's say, for example, obviously you've got Portsmouth at 0-2 right now, they're struggling. If they were to lose all their games, and let's say Birmingham Lions would go straight back up, do you think it's worth them two playing against each other to see who should stay in the Prem?
I really dislike that idea. I really do. I'm fundamentally against it. The main reason being, if you've lost, let's say you go 8-0, and then the other team go 0-8, automatically the favour is massively in the hands of the team that are going up, who should go up anyway, because they're 8-0, right, and they won the playoffs to get promoted. I don't think, if you finish bottom, firstly you're not going to be working offensively. Mindsets are going to be down. You're going to have players that aren't coming to practice. You're going to have, you know, guys that aren't showing up when they need to and stuff. The mentality of the team, the whole team spirit's going to be low. I think it would be, yeah. I also don't think you deserve another chance. I think if you finish bottom, you should get relegated. Coming from a team that finished bottom twice and didn't go down, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, sorry.
I mean, yeah, it's a valid point to make. To be fair, some people might say, people on the other hand will say, if you want to be in the Prem, you've got to beat the Prem, or if you want to be in that division, you've got to beat someone in that division. It's the same way, like for example, in football over here, Championship, League 1, League 2, they have the playoffs where, you know, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th play against each other, and then the winner goes up as the last third place team to go up,
Yeah.
right? Whereas in Germany, right, their third bottom team plays the third top team,
Yeah.
and whoever wins goes up. So if the team who's in the higher division wins, they get to keep their place in that division. So like, obviously it's a different sport. Obviously there's two different systems, and they both work for whoever the fan bases are.
Yeah.
Like our playoff system works for us, and their playoff system works for them. So I think whatever you have, you'll have people that like it and don't like it. And the main thing is people don't like change. But whatever it is, if it works, people will like it, you know. And if the pro rail game has to replace the national final, then people will say, no, we don't want that, because well, the national final is a big showcase game, right? But if it was a case of win that national final, you're the champions of Div 1, now you have to then go and beat the Prem team, and if you beat them, you take their place, and if not, you don't take their place, but hey ho, you're still Div 1 champions.
Yeah.
I guess that could make sense, and there's a place for it there. But again, you know, you're convincing guys who have lost 8 games and probably given up on training to turn up, which if you've had a lot of injuries and guys come back at the end of the season, it works. Whereas if you've just lost games because you're bad, I get why you don't want to play a 9th game.
Yeah. The Midlands and Yorkshire League, we'll list off the names. The Sheffield Sabres versus the Derby Braves. Any thoughts on that one? Oh, sorry, I've missed a game. I've completely missed a game. Sorry, the Oxford Derby in that Division 1 Southern, the Oxford Brooks versus the Oxford Lancers. We'll do that one first, as I missed it before. Any thoughts on that Oxford Derby?
Interesting matchup. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Oxford Brooks coming up against Oxford. I'm going to go for a Brooks upset.
Yeah, I'm taking Brooks as well.
I think the Brooks have got something cooking up their sleeve.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this at the start of the season. I knew that something was going on when they won the Division 2 last year. And I spoke to some of their coaches and some of their players. And I know they've got something cooking. Yes, they're losing some players, but they've got some new players coming in. And they coach really well. The guys that they've got, they coach really well. So I think they're going to surprise some people. I think they're still going to surprise some people. Even though they got the win last week, I still think that they have something to say to the rest of the division, and I think I'm going to go with them.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Lancers just to be different here, I reckon. Just throw a spanner in the works. Why not?
Oxford Brooks right there. That's how I go.
The Midlands and Yorkshire division. We'll go back to the game I mentioned earlier. Sheffield Sabres versus the Derby Braves. We'll actually do this one now. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm going to take Derby.
Well, okay, since you said Derby, I'm going to go with Sheffield, because sports in Sheffield right now isn't particularly good, right? Sheffield United are whack, and Sheffield Wednesday are whack, right? I get the fans are happy and everything because the club, you know, they got the club back and everything, but you know, you've got 2 clubs in the relegation zone. So I'm going to go with Sheffield.
Sabres.
Just so if anyone who is from Sheffield and just loves sports and wants to watch Sheffield and wants to be cheered up, hopefully this team can win and give them something to cheer about, because it's not looking good, Brev.
I'll take Derby for that one as well. And the other game of that division, Leicester Longhorns versus the Nottingham Green.
Leicester.
Give me the green.
They're an 18.
Give me the
They're
green.
an 18. The Green will probably win,
I was
but I'll
gonna
go
go
with Leicester.
Green as well. The Southeastern next up, the UCS versus the Brighton Panthers.
Brighton Panthers. I think quite comfortably Brighton Panthers.
I'm going to take the Emperors. It sounds regal, you know what I mean? It sounds, sounds cool. I'm going to go for the Emperors.
I'll take Brighton on this occasion. And then KCL Regents versus the Kingston Cougars. Hopefully, this game will have
Give
a
me
medical.
Kingston. Give me Kingston. Ready to go back after their medic issues, and they're going to show the SU what's what. Kingston. Let's go, Kingston.
You know what? Just to be petty, I'm gonna go KCL, right? KCL, go to Kingston and fuck them up
Nah.
just as payback for not sorting their medic issues last time. Yeah, tell them this is why you should sort your medic issues out. Go there and slap 50 on them just to say a big fucking.
Kingston would have beat Kent, and they're going to win this weekend. I'm telling you. Let's go, Cougars.
Does every team in that division begin with the same letter? We've got Kingston, Kent, KCL, Brighton.
The Southwestern Division, Plymouth versus Southampton. Plymouth Blitz versus Southampton Stags. Who we got?
Give me Southampton. Give me Southampton.
Oh, there you go.
I
don't
Steve
need-
will not be happy
I
with
don't
that
need to
site.
say anything. I don't need to say anything.
Sorry, it's just seeing the Southampton logo, yeah, and then Emirates Fly Better right under it. It's just hilarious.
Give me the Stags. Give me the Stags.
There you go.
Let's go Southampton.
I'll go Plymouth in solidarity with Steve because I know he will not like to see any Southampton team winning. And he's not here to defend himself on that front.
Well, give me Southampton Stags
versus
as
the
a
Basket
stolen
Bees.
thrasher defensive back. Give me Southampton Stags.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know,
Yeah.
I've got to rep Southampton as a player for Southampton.
Up the Thrashers.
Come on, up the Thrashers, up the Southampton.
And then the Bournemouth Uni Bobcats versus the Bath Killer Bees.
Oh,
like it to be
they're not
Bournemouth.
they're not
So I'm
playing
gonna take
Bristol.
them.
Oh, I thought they were playing Bristol this week. My bad.
No.
Oh well. Apologies.
Give me the Bath. No, I'm joking. Bobcats.
I think we scrimmed against Bath like last week. Not the Sunday just gone, the week before. Cardiff Cobras. We scrimmed against Bath, and they looked all right. They have a few Aztecs players, so I mean, I like Bath. Nice place, beautiful city, but I'm gonna have to go for the Bobcats. Sorry.
Yeah.
But shout the Killer Bees. It's a crazy name.
Right. Well, that is all of week 2 for Division 1. As we're
I have a question.
already an hour and almost 15 minutes in, we're going to skim through Division 2. Go on.
You see bees,
says
right? You see where bees. You see bees when they sting, don't they die?
This is why this stream is going to take 2 hours. We just got Kwame asking stupid questions like that.
Because again, killer bees it's a good name and that, but like if they're gonna kill you, they're gonna sting you. Yeah, like surely, like it doesn't really bode well if a bee dies when it stings, because when it pulls its stinger out, its whole body rips apart, and that doesn't really, like
You're in too deep with the
I always
names,
say,
Kwame.
like,
You're in too deep, man.
it's
You're in
first and
too
10.
deep.
We're gonna run the ball, and
As soon as we score, we're just gonna give up for the rest of the game.
everyone just spontaneously combust and just rip.
You're in too deep, man. You're in too deep.
Yeah, as I said,
Let them play Kingston. At least then they'll have to
probably
bring a
try and,
medic.
Oh, Alfie, you went.
He's gone.
Alfie's Wi-Fi.
He's still there. We just can't see him. We can't hear him.
All right. Well, let's. Okay.
What was the game? It was.
Well, I'll go through it. I got the fixtures here. So we'll go Northwestern 2 to start with, because I assume that's where Alfie would have gone with.
There he is. He's
very
back.
sorry about that again.
Okay.
I'm back.
No, you're right. Go ahead, Alfie.
Sorry. Right. Yeah, I was going to say we should probably try and give the Division 2 games a bit quicker, as we have already taken an hour and 15, and then ask a question about Killer Bees. We'll start with the Northeastern. I'm just going to ask for thoughts going into these about these games. If you've got any about Division 2, we'll ask about general thoughts, and then we'll go to our picks as well.
Okay.
So Sunderland Spartans versus York Centurions. We're just going to rattle some results.
Give me Sunderland.
14-0 in that one.
Oh, that was
No, that wasn't.
yeah,
it
that
wasn't
was
pick, it
a
was
close
14.
game.
Yeah. We're just going through some results right now, and then we'll get to our picks
Okay.
in a second. We'll just skim through some of these, just make sure everyone knows the results from Division 2 last week, because even though it is the lowest division, it still matters, apparently. So we'll do it. Lincoln versus Anglia Ruskin, 14-13 in the Midlands 2.
Yeah.
The Southern 2A, Sussex Saxons, that was difficult to say, as a tongue twister, that one. Against the Chichester Spitfires, the 50-21 score there. Royal Holloway, the Bears losing 41-8 to the Reading Knights. If you have any thoughts, just stop me, by the way, and we'll think.
Yeah,
about
I'll just quickly shout, because we obviously at Sport Tank we did the stream, or Steve did the stream over the weekend for the Sussex Saxons Chichester game. Really high scoring game. I spoke to one of the wide receivers who I actually have done an interview with coming soon. Louis Sharp, good guy who scored a touchdown, had a good game at the weekend. Just defense really struggled for Chichester in that game against the Sussex offense. And then in the next game you mentioned, Reading Knights, bit of a disappointment one for them. I expect them to bounce back in their next game.
Yeah. The Southeastern, the Imperial Immortals, beat the QMBL Vipers 7-6. A close game there. And
always tough. It's always tough between Imperial and Queen Mary.
Yeah. There you go. 7-6 is a real close one there. And then the Southwestern, the Swansea Titans beat the Worcester Royals 18-2. And then the UE Bullets 2s defeated the Gloucestershire Gladiators by 38-6. Any thoughts before we move on to the picks?
Just on those two games. Just on those two games. Obviously, being a former UE Bullets alumni, really happy to see the UE 2s really sort of doing well. I really hope they get promoted this year. The year I was at UE was the first year that the 2s got created, and at first it was sort of like they were a reserve team. And I think now UE have properly sort of developed the team into being a club where they've got their own coaching staff. A few of the ex-UE players that I played with as well are down there coaching as well. I think George Boys, Lucas Spindler, Dion Douglas White are out there coaching. And honestly, I think they're the team to beat this year. So really, yes, David, let's go, my man. And so yeah, I really hope UE do well this year. They've got some really good players in that team, and they're no longer a reserve team. They are their own team in their own right now. So I hope they do well this year. And Swansea coming off a really tough season last year. I think they went 0-8 last year, Swansea, and they got a win. So good on Swansea, and we'll see you at Varsity for your annual thumping in March and April.
Just want to say a quick thing about B teams, particularly there's only 2 of them in the country, so obviously UE Bullets 2s and Nottingham Green, is that I like the fact that both of these units actually pay attention to both of these teams, and it's not just the main team and then an afterthought. Because I feel like a lot of people's idea of a lot of people's idea when you have an A team and a B team is that the A team gets all the attention with the coaching, gets all the funding, they get all of the attention, the social media attention, everything goes to them. And the B team is basically just a pub team where it's, oh, you guys want to play some American football? Yeah, let's just turn up on a Sunday. Let's run these plays. I fancy running up the inside zone. I fancy running outside zone. I fancy throwing the ball this way. I fancy doing this, whatever, right? Lose 50-0, go to the pub, go get smashed and do it all again next week. I'm starting to like the fact that even though you play for the B team or whatever it is, it's still a team and you're still competing. Yes, right now, both of them are in Div 2, but there's a realistic possibility, right? Especially now that we have the Prem National, right? Which now means that Div 2 is the 4th tier instead of the 3rd tier. There's a realistic possibility that both the Bullets 2s and the Nottingham Green can go up to Div 1 and become established teams in Div 1. Now, if that was to happen, I feel like they already are at such an advantage to the other teams, and we know that they're so much better than the third best team in the country, that some of the other teams in the Prem are going to have to get to a stage where they can create B teams as well. You know, some of the biggest top teams in the country, you know, we're going to have to see like Durham, Leeds Beckett, SGS, Brunel, Birmingham, Hertfordshire down the line, if they can come back up as well. Some of these guys are going to need to create B teams as well, because that's where you're going to see like the distribution of talent. The A teams will become stacked with imports, your top level players in this country, and everyone, and guys that come to the university to play who were just recruited from off the street, who haven't played the sport before, coming from other sports, or maybe played the sport but played at a younger level or haven't played at as high a level. Those guys will start going into the B teams, and their B teams will still be very good. You know, you're seeing it with like the Bullets too, where you said, for example, some of your mates that you played with that were good players have stuck around and stayed behind to coach. Now, this helps with the culture.
Yeah.
Remember, when I finished playing at Brunel, I stuck around for a couple of years and coached. Some of the other former players did as well. We had guys who left the team and came back to coach. You know, some of the guys in the team today were still players when I was a player. Some of them left, some of them stayed around. You know, the current Burners head coach is a former player. You know, when you have players who stick around to become coaches, it really helps the culture. It helps bridge the gap between, you know, players who come in from the start and don't know what to do and don't know who to talk to and all sorts and don't know where to go, and it gives them a lot of confidence and makes them really feel like part of a family. And definitely when I felt like we had former players who were coaches and coaches who were very close to the players as well, we had coaches turning up to pre-drinks as well when I was there. So like when you have that sort of vibe and it really makes the team feel like a family, it gives that sense of closeness. I guess definitely when you have two teams, because you have more people involved, it makes the family just a lot bigger and it just brings everyone closer. So definitely I see it as possible. I like the fact that these guys are sticking around. I like how, you know, these B teams are slowly getting stronger and stronger, and it's not just, you know, an afterthought of a bunch of guys that just didn't make the A team but still want to play. It's actually a program, and UE and Nottingham will go somewhere. They will go places not just for their A teams, but their B teams as well. And I feel like other teams will start to follow suit and create second teams when they feel like their A teams, or they feel like their teams are so strong but they can't quite get everyone into it. It's definitely an opportunity. And I feel like more teams will start to follow suit.
Yeah. So let's quickly move on to our picks, and then we are done for the evening. Div 2, we'll start with the Northeastern. The Hull Sharks versus the YSJ Jaguars.
Give me 3-time national champion Hull Sharks. 3. Sorry,
Yeah.
I said 4.
Someone told me the other day that Sharks don't worry about Mondays. They just go around, you know, biting stuff and being sharks. So I'm gonna take the Sharks.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll take the Sharks as well. I'll fit in the crowd this one.
Just fight. Just fight the other team.
The Staffordshire Stallions versus the Lancaster Bombers.
I'm gonna take the Bombers. Based on nothing, but I'm gonna take the Bombers.
Okay, if you take the Bombers, I'll take the Stallions.
Oh, I don't know where to go now.
Staffordshire Stallions, Wembley Stallions, all the same Stallions are all horses at the end of the day.
Yeah. Staffordshire's closer to me, so I'm going to go with them. Yeah, DMU Lions versus the Cambridge Pythons.
I'll go Lions because I'm scared of snakes.
You'll be scared of snakes next Sunday, mate. I tell you that for certain.
Oh shit! I forgot about
Give me
that.
the Pythons. Give me the snake gang.
I like lions. You know, lions are the king of the jungle, so let's go with them.
Yeah,
Not poisonous though.
I'll take Lions as well. Not poisonous.
Snakes are not immune to flamethrowers. Just to let you know, they're highly flammable animals. So,
the Surrey Stingers versus it. Solent Red Hawks.
Where's my
Is he
flag?
going to get the flag again? He's getting the flag again. Yeah, there it is.
Stingers are Red Hawks.
Give me the Red Hawks. David Pepper.
Guess you're going to go. There you go.
DJ.
Let's go. Head coach David Pepper is going to bring the Red Hawks their first win in how many years has it been?
I don't actually know, to be fair. Hey,
35
Phil
years.
Barrett.
Let's go. The Solent Red Hawks will
Phil
get their
Barrett.
first win in 35 years this season.
Shout out Phil Barrett as well.
Phil Barrett, my G. Phil Barrett. I hope you're watching. If you're not watching, I'll find a way to. I'll snip this little bit here and send it to you.
Yeah, I love the Red Hawks. Give me the Red Hawks.
Let's go Red Hawks. I'm rooting for Red Hawks because of personal connection to Southampton again.
Same.
In solidarity with Steve, and he's not here to defend himself. I'll go the one that isn't Southampton based. I will, and then our last prediction of tonight: the Aberystwyth Taranau. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. And the Gloucestershire Gladiators. Who have we got for that one?
Well, there's only one team in Wales, so I'm gonna go for Gloucester.
Fair enough.
That's a fair point. I think I picked Gloucester last week. I want to say I picked them last week. I actually can't remember. That's one of the games that I cannot remember who I picked. I'll be doing these picks and not actually remembering who I picked.
Got to write them down.
But I can't be bothered to do that. To be honest with you. If you guys want to write them down, write them down. But I'm picking teams based on half the teams I picked are based on nothing. So I will forget by the time this show is done. I've already forgotten half the picks we picked 5 minutes ago. To be honest with you.
Well,
so who was the other team that we
Aberystwyth.
Aberystwyth and Gloucestershire. I feel like I picked Gloucestershire to win last time. They didn't win, so I'm gonna pick them to win this time. They better win, otherwise I'm not picking them again this season. So Gloucestershire is your last chance. Is your last chance, Gloucestershire.
yeah.
Win this game, or I'm rooting against you for the rest of the year.
One more comment before we. Well, there you go. There is some threats towards the Burners before we get ahead of the Cobras game.
Talk your shit. Talk your shit, Sharon.
Well, there you go. Looking ahead towards that Burners Cardiff
No,
game.
I would love to
That's
see.
the biggest one of the weekend.
Purely based on that, what I would love to see. Purely based on that, I would love to see is an all-star team based off the greatest players to ever play for the Brunel Burners and the greatest players to ever play for the Cardiff Cobras.
Oh, it's
right? Everyone suit up and play. I would love to see what the final score would be.
The best players to play for Brunel at the moment are on the field, mate.
You'd be surprised. We've had some absolute ballers come through in the past.
That would be good. That would be good.
Well, there you go. We are all done. We are all caught up with Uniball this week. Thank you for joining us. If you have joined us, thanks for commenting. The 2 people that did comment in the end. We're looking forward to that Brunel Cardiff game on. Is it the Sunday?
I know who I'm repping. I know who I'm supporting.
Yeah, it's Sunday.
Well,
it's
good
next
luck
Sunday.
To you both. Good luck to you, Ewan, as a coach.
Sitting in my 9-year-old
Yeah,
if
good luck to
Kwame
you,
turns
Kwame,
up if Kwame turns up at the rundown on Monday with a black eye, you know who it's come from.
If I turn up to the game on Sunday, I'll probably be incredibly hungover. But
and I'll be on crutches, so win-win.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us.
I'll keep my distance from you. I'll keep a distance from you and not get a black eye. Because if you're on crutches, you're not getting anywhere close to me. So I'll chat to you from about 5 yards away. Visor.
Any last thoughts from you two before we end the stream?
No, I'm all good. Thanks, Alfie, for hosting.
Any last word?
It's been an absolute pleasure joined by you two tonight. We'll probably see you next week. Hopefully all 3 of us again. We'll see. Thank you for joining. Goodbye.